Yeah. MD, JPB, it's only right, baby.
Yeah, why you mad? I got a bad bro. Name hot in these streets, no Tabasco. But I'm so stuck, that's a fact, yo. And if you think I'm frontin', you can run it back, yo. Go on, run it back.
You know that I run it. Everything you wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this damn, it's gonna be a long night.
Hello guys, what is up? It is me, Prince of this, and I'm back here with another video. Today I'll be doing What If Naofumi was an Uchiha. I'm changing the name, I'm not making a new series. For those of you who keep saying that, why would I change it? It's literally the same thing. You have a Sharingan, you're an Uchiha. He has Uchiha blood. Also, it looks cooler in the thumbnail. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My Discord's in the server. Go there, have fun, just talk. And yeah, share this video with any people who might like What Ifs. And yeah, let's just get right into it, and sorry about any background noise you may hear. So, quick recap. Naofumi saved the village from vines and discovered that it was in fact Moroyasu's actions which caused the attack of the vines. And although he hated fixing the idiot's mistake, he did, and then he got some money from it. Then he went on to fix Ren's mistake and fought a dragon, which in turn gave him a new shield. However, this shield was stuck in the same form since they fought the creature, which was weird. But his abilities seemed to be working fine, so what the heck. Also, at this point, during their adventures, the trio would end up meeting a girl named Melty, and she turned out to be the princess of the Melkormark Kingdom. And it seems that the church is brewing up a plot against our hero. So we continue our story with Naofumi and his party having found an inn, and Naofumi sits down on the bed. Why did we decide to stay here again? Raphtalia would then sit by him, because some people of Melkormark aren't so bad. I understand why you don't like Melty, but Asuka would then jump in and land on Naofumi's lap as she agrees, because Melty, or the person she calls Mel, is a very nice person despite her status. So Naofumi says it's not good for her to be trusted, especially considering who her father is. And as he says this, they would hear a knock as Raphtalia opens the door and they see Melty standing outside. Now, despite her best efforts, things end up like in the anime, and she leaves sad and a little bit pissed. And later on, a few minutes, like the same knight who yelled out for Naofumi to stop, he came to Naofumi's party along with a few other knights and like a mage, and the knights wanted to like help him in the upcoming wave. We are all deeply touched with how you fought in the last wave. Please let us assist you on this upcoming wave, please, says the knights. If you want to fight the waves, you can do that without me. So I am curious as to why you want the help of the vile shield hero. A mage would then say, "You were not evil in our eyes, sir. Not only did you save Loot Village, you made it better. We're all from Loot, so we're really happy and we appreciate what you did." Now, Fumi would then think about this, and then he says that, sure, they can help out, but if they do anything sus, he will know. He literally has clones always like supervising everything. So they would thank him for letting them help, as they would then leave for today, and they said they'll come back another time to discuss plans and stuff. So after this, Naofumi would remember that he needs to go do two things. Get new armor for everyone, because it's been a while. And also, it was time for Asuka to get her first weapons. So, after resting a bit, they go to Ironheart shop, and then they go to the slave merchant shop to get Asuka wyvern talons. And these, of course, will be attached to her feet. And the slave trader would ask, "So, what do you think?" "Not bad, and it won't ruin our budget," says Naofumi. The slave trader would then actually now mention that it is due to Naofumi's business that he's actually been getting more customers, and this is because Philo is suspected to be a filial queen. Thus, nobles and such, have been approaching him to ask how they can raise their own filial queens, so they can be like the shield heroes. So he's very grateful for this, as Naofumi says whatever and asks where they can go to test out Asuka's new weapon. As he says this, everyone turns around to see that Asuka says that indeed it will take a while to get used to these talons, so she does need some exercise. "Well, I do have a request for you, if you'll take it," says the slave trader. As the slave trader says this, we cut to Naofumi's party in the dark sewers, as Raphtalia stays in front of the party with her sword out and a torch out. "Damn, that slave trader, why does there have to be monsters in the sewer?" says Raphtalia. This is when what looks like a sea serpent comes out of the dirty water, just jumping at them. Raphtalia dodges to the side, dodging its bite, as Naofumi then blocks its attack and sends it flying with a shield, and Asuka will slightly run on the side of the walls, and in an instant she cuts up the creature with one swift kick. Wow, these are really useful. Sorry, Raftalia, it looks like you won't get to try out your new sword, says Naofumi. Raftalia would then say it's fine because sparring with him is going to be better to test out this thing than any monster. Naofumi would then chuckle as they then leave, having to take care of the monster, and of course they get some money out of it. Well, he automatically does make his clones like pick out the monster parts and put in his shield. Even though his shield won't change, it can still store things. So the next day comes, and since they still have some time before the waves, they hit the road again. They would be in their carriage being pulled by Asuka, and they only get closer and closer to what looks like a wasteland. They would arrive to a little town where people were just surrounding them, asking them for food, and if they had things to trade, and trade for their junk. Like they had some stuff in their hands, and they wanted to trade for food. Who are you people? Are you from Melkormark? Asked Naofumi. They would say that they were refugees from the north, and Naofumi would then ask them what exactly happened here. The people would then say that apparently a few adventurers, especially one with the bow, started a revolution to help them, but only made things worse. Naofumi's entire party would just facepalm, saying, "Not again." A man would then ask, what's wrong? It's nothing. So, are we gonna help them? Asked Raftalia. So Raftalia and Asuka look at Naofumi, who starts to think, but soon he says, yeah, we have to help them because this is just messed up. You knew they were gonna mess up somehow, but to destroy these people's entire way of life, and this is just cruel, I mean, seriously. And so setting up a kitchen, they would feed the people, as they would then give the people food, and then since they weren't, there weren't that many of them, they actually brought the rest of the villagers to Lu Village, because Naofumi's the lord of it, he can do whatever the hell he wants. They give them food, a shelter, etc., they gave them a home. So the people were actually really grateful. Then after this, Naofumi would be walking in the streets of Melkormark with his party as Asuka says that she's hungry. Alright then, let's get some food, says Naofumi. The party would then head to get food, and because Naofumi has a lot of money now, they can get enough nutrients for the next wave and maybe even some more food, just extra. And as they will be eating, they get at an inn. Naofumi's ears would pick up Ren and Itsuki's voices. I did a request a while back, but somehow it's been voided because someone stole the quest from me or something. Same, says Ren. I was asked to take care of a dragon, but apparently the quest was cancelled. Naofumi would then slightly laugh as he tells his party what he just heard, and they also laugh because that is hilarious. And this is when Itsuki and Ren hear them and notice their presence. At this point, one of Itsuki's people would come up with a quest, and he says, nah, just give me a bit. And then approaches Naofumi's party with Ren. So, what's so funny, huh? Asks Itsuki. Naofumi would then say, oh, I was just thinking that you have no idea what you were doing. Itsuki would then get mad as he would say, it was you, wasn't it? You stole my quest and probably Ren's too. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, says Naofumi. Itsuki would then yell, I don't believe you, as Naofumi says, I don't care, slamming his hand down and standing up. Don't ever blame me for your mistakes, you Robin Hood wannabe. You have any idea how many people would die because of you two? The two would get stunted as Ren finally asks him what he means, and he's not trying to be disrespectful, he's legit trying to find out what's going on. Naofumi would then say, well, to put it in simple terms, you Itsuki, you led a rebellion against the king, right? Well, you only made the kingdom go into anarchy. And Ren, you are so stupid. Do you still think this is a game? You killed a dragon and just left this rotting corpse around. It spread disease to everyone. You two are the worst. People died because of you, and I had to fix your mistakes. We're leaving. We would then walk past the two, bumping into their shoulders purposely as his party falls behind, with Asuka taking some extra food with her. Everyone would then have heard what Naofumi yelled, and they were now giving weird stares to the two heroes. Itsuki would then look at Naofumi as he leaves, saying, I still don't believe you. Naofumi would then look at the two and uses his Mangekyo to put them in a trance, aka a Genjutsu, that just shows them everything that happened as Naofumi leaves with his party. And now they literally somehow feel the emotions and how bad it was to be the people who were affected by their bad decisions. It was horrible. They could only just stand there slightly crying as their partners just ran over to check up on them, wondering what the hell the shield hero did. Naofumi would then tell his team to go back to Lu Village and wait in the place that they have, that the villagers gave them, until he comes back because he has to get some new armor from Ironheart. Now the next day would come as Naofumi would be putting on some new armor, just trying it out. They're not leaving yet. He's just seeing what he's got. The following consists of a gauntlet for him to use for martial arts on monsters without wrecking his own body. He also got a mantle finally, because up to this point he thought it would be getting in the way, but it won't if it has an effect to nullify magic, so it's actually really strong. So after that, we're going to cut to the next day again, when Naofumi along with his party will meet the knights again, and they make them a part of his party. So now when they teleport, the knights will teleport with them. And soon time will be up, and the countdown will start again as the group will be enveloped in the light and they will be standing in front of Ironheart as they say their goodbyes. As they're instantly just transported, Naofumi's skills makes the soldiers way stronger and more focused as they start to evacuate the villagers, while Asuka and Raphtalia just like take care of the monsters. Naofumi would just be heading towards where they found a boss might be, while also beating up some monsters and helping out people, you know. When he soon he actually comes across a man about to be killed by a goblin, and using a kick, he would rip the monster's head off. "What are you waiting for? Get out of here," says Naofumi to the villager. The villager would then be led by a knight who came with Naofumi, as he would thank Naofumi. The villager would thank Naofumi, and the other knight would meet up with Naofumi, and so would Raphtalia. And as they meet up, they would then get attacked by a huge lizard man. Quickly, Raphtalia sheathes their sword as the lizard man gets his head cut off. The soldiers would be impressed by Raphtalia and by Naofumi because they're thinking that just being near them, they actually feel stronger too. "Yeah, being in my party will do that to you," says Naofumi. Asuka would then arrive feeling mad that she missed out on some of the action. Naofumi would tell everyone to stay on guard, and this is when they see an old woman defeat two undead werewolves, I guess you could say. Naofumi would point at the woman while gasping, and he recognizes her as the woman that they cured along their travels. "Do you know her?" asks Raphtalia. The woman would then bow, telling them that she is happy that the shield hero recognizes her, and Naofumi tells Raphtalia who she is. And she, as well as Asuka, are shocked because she looks like she might have been a veteran adventurer before, and another monster would then attack her as she defeats it in one kick, and Naofumi wonders what the hell he fed her. Naofumi then realizes that everyone has been evacuated. He tells the knights to keep the monsters at bay, and then he would look at the sky and realize that it's actually been really long. They've actually been defeating monsters for 3 hours straight, and he thought that by now the other heroes would have taken down the boss, but they're still not done. The knights and the old lady would then see the distress on his face and tell him to go ahead. So Naofumi says why not, and he leaves the rest to them because they can handle it. Raphtalia and him then get on Asuka's back, and they run off to where the other heroes are. When they arrive, they see Itsuki and his party shooting down undead birds, and as soon as Itsuki sees Naofumi approaching, he gets mad because he doesn't want to admit that he was wrong. Naofumi would then ask him where the others are, and as he keeps shooting, he directs them to the ship. Naofumi would then squat down, and using his wind attribute, he would just jump high enough to land on the ship. This would then shock everyone as Raphtalia would then get on Asuka's back and she jumps to the ship as well. Naofumi would then land to save Moriyasu and Ren arguing, and he breaks them up saying that this is not what they should be doing right now. Seeing Naofumi, Moriyasu would get super mad as he blames him for Mai not doing 100% ever since what he did to her. "Go defend the village or something," says Moriyasu. Naofumi would just ignore him, telling him that because they haven't defeated the boss, monsters just keep spawning. As he says this, he's attacked by an undead pirate from behind. He just looks at the creature and it gets lit on black fire. The monster will then begin to melt as Naofumi puts the flame out, and a kraken would then come out attacking him, and he would use Raikiri and extend the lightning blade to the throat of the freaking kraken and into its mouth until it just explodes. "If you guys keep doing whatever it is you're doing, you're gonna die, and so will all the villagers," says Naofumi. As he says this, Raphtalia and Asuka arrive as well, and they see Ren and Moriyasu arguing about how to make the boss arrive. Naofumi would then notice the undead pirate that he killed just be respawned, and this would make him activate his Sharingan again, and he would look at the monster closely. He then sees another piece of energy attached to the pirate, and in his shadow he sees what the other heroes have been missing this entire time. And while they're arguing, Naofumi would then tell Raphtalia to spread some light on the undead. She would then point her sword up using the spell Fast Light, and this would illuminate light everywhere, revealing the Soul Eater, as Raphtalia would then take notice of this and stab the pirate's shadow. This would spawn a Soul Eater as Ren would follow her example and attack the shadow of one of the other krakens, and this would summon more Soul Eaters, as Itsuki then jumps on saying that the Soul Eaters are spawning all over the ship actually. All the Soul Eaters would then combine into a dimensional Soul Eater as everyone is surprised, and as all the heroes would use their lightning based attacks, all they do is nothing to the Soul Eater, who just tanks it easily and just shoots a huge green blast of energy at everyone. Luckily, Naofumi is the shield hero, so he and his party are perfectly fine, but he kind of hates that he can't use other shield skills right now. So as the dust from the attack disappears, Naofumi points at the Soul Eater and wants to test out what element could actually hurt it, and he starts off with his favorite element, saying, "Cataclysmic Storm." The Soul Eater would then be covered by what looks like a ball of wind that keeps slashing at it, like destroying it for like 5 seconds straight. This attack actually affects the monster a lot, and the heroes realize this, so He would tell Raphtalia and Asuka that from here on out, they're gonna go a little bit crazy, and they would understand what he meant, as Asuka would then disappear and reappear in front of the monster, kicking it so hard that it loses quite a bit of HP. Raphtalia would then jump up and slash it using a light slash, and it brings the HP down a lot as well. Then Naofumi comes in jumping up and using wind as he would kick it while just like creating a massive wind blade. By this point, the monster's HP would be like down to about half, and everyone is shocked because they look like they're legitimately having fun with the monster, and the monster is just like they're taking all their hits. So the interdimensional Soul Eater honestly can't do much, but it's still not taking as much damage as Naofumi thought, so it's gonna take a little bit long before this thing dies. So he decides to use something he hasn't used in a while, and he wants to try out something. His body would then be covered in a green aura as he would form a gigantic Susanoo. Stop attacking, I'm gonna end this, says Naofumi. Raphtalia and Asuka would then listen as Naofumi would then create a Susanoo weapon, which is a drill, and the drill will start to be spinning as it just gets covered in black flames, and Naofumi would then yell as he thrusts it at the monster's stomach. The monster would then lose its ability to fly as it would fall to the ground, covered in black flames and have a hole in its stomach. It is screaming in pain as some of Itsuki and Ren's people would try to like finish everything, but Moriyasu was stopped and telling them that that fire is something you should not get near, like it will burn you to death. So they listen to Moriyasu as the Soul Eater just dies super fast until it just turns to nothing, and yeah, it's gone. And Naofumi deactivates the Susanoo and lands. He would then create a simple Susanoo ribcage, realizing that he can now use his power way more freely this time, and everyone will be happy that everything is over. Asuka would then turn into her human form, making Moriyasu turn into a bit of a weirdo, as Raphtalia would then congratulate Naofumi on a job well done. However, as they're celebrating, Naofumi would sense something and turn to see another Soul Eater pop out from under the boat. Everyone would start to panic again as Ren says that this wasn't in the game. For the love of God, this isn't a game, you morons, yells Naofumi. He would then use Amaterasu again and hit the monster as it would be covered in flames. It starts to just disappear again until it just easily dies. Impressive. Everyone would then hear someone say this that wasn't part of their, dynamic, and they don't know who said it. A woman wearing a traditional Japanese kimono would then land down as the monster died, and she felt really dangerous. Are you really the heroes that protect this world? You were weak. It seems that the only person worthy of being called a hero is you, says Glass. She would then look at Naofumi as she would ask for his name, and Naofumi would look at this woman weirded out as he would ask who she was. She would then introduce herself as Glass, with Naofumi telling her his name. She would then threaten Naofumi, but he could care less, and she would then ask if he was going to just stand there or send his servants at him. The heroes would then get offended at this, and they would attack Glass, but she parries all their attacks very easily. She then attacks the heroes and their companions and beats them up with her fans, but Naofumi and his party are of course unaffected. I hope you can entertain me more, Shield Hero, says Glass. I'm not here to entertain you, Glass, says Naofumi. He would then look at her as her clothes catch fire. Is this really how you plan to get rid of me? She would then laugh as she tries to make the flames dissipate with her fans, but it doesn't work. The flames just spread more and more on her, and she feels like it's literally burning her bones. What is that flame? Asks Ren. Asuka would then look at the hero, saying that Naofumi says it's an eternal flame that only he can control, and if he doesn't want it to burn, stop burning and be put out, it won't stop burning. Besides, yeah, it just can never be put out. So we go back to Glass, and he's trying to stop the flames, but they just won't stop spreading, and Naofumi will kneel by her as she sees his eyes up close. What are you? Asks Glass. I don't quite know myself, says Naofumi, but you know what I'm not. I'm not your entertainer. If you don't return to wherever the hell it is you came from, you can die right here. Glass would then keep being stubborn as she would fight this, but she felt her skin melt and her bones actually started to feel like they were melting. But soon she couldn't take it anymore and begged him to stop. Naofumi would then stand up, deactivating the flames as Glass would stand up and jump away from him. And at this point, her left arm was basically already gone. This isn't over, says Glass. She's then sucked up into the sky as the waves die out and she just leaves. She curses Naofumi out, saying that next time things will be different, and quickly the ship would start to fall as Naofumi and his party would then jump off and they look into the sky as they land. Master, who was that? Asked Asuka. I don't know, but she's not really a threat. Let's just get back to the village, but if she does ever show up again, we're killing her. The party would then start leaving, not really going back for the heroes who were still on the ship because they don't give a damn about them. And they go to the village ravaged by the waves this time and help out with some things. Now, of course, Naofumi does still obtain the Soul Eater shield. Kind of. Actually, no, let's say he doesn't. He burned it to nothing. There's literally no way he could have gotten it. So Naofumi does not obtain the Soul Eater shield this time. But while they were helping the village out, Naofumi realizes that he can't always be around to help these losers. If they don't get stronger, they will legitimately die. Now, he hates them, but they don't deserve to die like that. Now, as he's helping around, he is approached by two of the many knights who helped him, and one of the knights says, "Sir, you've been summoned by the king." Now, Naofumi would then lift an eyebrow to this, as he would then tell Raphtalia and Asuka to stick around here, as he has a prior engagement to take care of. As he leaves with the knights, the heroes who had arrived a few moments later stare at him with scorn, and he would sense their hatred towards him. My senses are getting really, really powerful. You would then look at his, skill set and see that he has a new skill. Eye of Insight. What the hell is that? You would then activate the skill, and the next thing he sees is amazing. As he stares at the back of the knights, he's impressed and shocked to see what this skill actually does. I'll reveal what the skill does after, but you can guess what it is. So we cut to him in the king's throne room. When he arrives in front of the king, it is shown that his battle was recorded, and this includes his mysterious use of black flames, as well as his mastery over the wind attribute and everything. His battle would be shown on a crystal ball, as the king then says, "You have done quite well to quell the waves, though I hate to admit it." Why the hell is this bastard so cocky today, thinks Naofumi. "However, you have been displaying powers unbefitting of the shield here. I demand that you tell me the true nature of them, and do not lie." Naofumi would then instantly reply saying, "I'm not telling you shit. I was hoping for an apology, but it seems like you clearly are still as rude as the first time I met you." He would then turn around going to leave when all of a sudden the king yells for the knights to stop him, and as they approach him with their swords, Naofumi just activates the Susanoo ribcage, which then just bursts with energy, knocking them back, because some of the knights were ones that he actually worked with. He didn't want to hurt them, and he just says, "Fine, you want to know what my real power is that much?" says Naofumi. He would then turn around, still surrounded by the Susanoo, as he would point down, saying, "Then bow to me and beg for answers." The king would then get out of his seat yelling, "You insolent cur!" Naofumi would then laugh, saying, "I'm guessing you're not gonna bow then. We're done here. Call me for things like this again and I'll kill you." He would then turn and go to leave once again, when the king would then ask for respect, threatening the life of his party. This is when Naofumi snaps, as he then forms a Raikiri, and he starts moving back towards the king. Some of the knights tried to stop him, but using his martial arts skills, he would knock them all out in an instant, actually putting out quite a brilliant display of power. The king would then be sweating, wanting to jump out of his throne and escape this devil, but when Naofumi finally reaches him, putting his Raikiri to his neck, he just realizes, "Yo, I'm dead, bro. I have dealt with a lot of your crap. I used to be so nice, so forgiving, so lenient, but today I think it's time I finally stop holding back." The king would then scream as he gets his head cut off, but this is when everyone in the throne room is confused, because Naofumi left after he said he wanted to attack his teammates. He left right out the door, but for some reason, the king is now screaming as if he was daymaring. The king's attendant would then shake him, saying, Your Majesty, please get a hold of yourself." The king would then see his attendant as Naofumi, and he actually slaps him to the side, and this is when the Genjutsu breaks. He sees himself standing up, and his knights are afraid of him, and his attendant is on the floor, holding his cheek in pain. I don't know but he killed. Ugh. He would then fall out of consciousness as he falls down a few stairs leading to his throne, and quickly everyone surrounds him worried, as we cut to Naofumi at Ironheart's shop, and he is very happy because business is booming. Well, at least it was until Naofumi stepped in. "So, you picked a fight with the king, huh? Never cease to impress, do you?" said Ironheart. Now, Naofumi would then say, "I didn't pick a fight. He did. Luckily, I got some payback, though. Anyway, I just wanted to get some stuff. I'm leaving this place. I'm gonna go fight the wave somewhere else." So Naofumi would then get new things for the party, like a second sword for Raphtalia, and the sword was a mana sword, so now not only could she dual wield, she was now just gonna be destroying people even more, because by this point she's already really good at using mana. So as for Asuka, it was gloves that would enhance her physical strength by a lot more, and so soon the party will be going on the road, and they were long gone. But as they were leaving, they would be approached by another wagon while they were taking a break on their route. They would then be on the other side of the road just eating, relaxing when they hear Melty's voice. She then waves at them from her wagon, which was being driven by a knight, and there were a bunch of other knights surrounding the wagon riding on horses. Asuka, hearing her voice, then gets excited, saying, "Look, Master, it's Mel. She came to see us." She would then keep waving her arms, saying hi to Melty, who would then get out of the wagon to greet the shield hero. Naofumi would be annoyed as he and his party go to greet her. Well, not greet, it's more like scorn her. And when they stand face to face, she asks for Naofumi to return to the capital. "I refuse. Leave us alone," says Naofumi. "I urge you to apologize to my father." "I refuse. Leave us alone," says Naofumi once again. Melty would then get mad as she says that they need his help with the waves. Besides, he won't last long without the king's financial support anyway. Raftali would then laugh, saying, "Sorry, I don't want to be rude, but the king gives us no money anymore. But we don't need it either. Naofumi used to be a merchant. He's been earning more money quite easily, actually." Melty would then be shocked as she doesn't know what to do, and she then starts yelling, throwing a tantrum, calling Naofumi and her father immature instead of just making up their being like children. Naofumi's party would kind of agree, but not really, so she would just keep throwing a tantrum when all of a sudden Naofumi's eyes notice something. He sees a crystal, like similar to the one that was in the throne room. "Yeah, I'm getting sick of these guys' setups." He would then set the crystal on fire, thinking that if they're trying to record him, then they are most definitely planning something. I mean, he should know. He, as well as other businesses, have used this tactic to actually ruin other companies. So all of a sudden, the knights behind Melty would yell as the one holding the ball the crystal ball just drops it, and it is lit on fire and it starts to melt quite fast. And they're freaking out. Melty would then turn back to see this and looks back to look at Naofumi. "I think you should go." Melty would then ask why, and Naofumi's eyes would turn into Mangekyo as his Susanoo arm actually grabbed something from behind her. It is a knight that was coming up to slash at Melty, and when Melty turns back to see this, she is shocked. And then all of a sudden, the Susanoo arm squeezes the knight so hard that his bones break and he is just killed right there. Naofumi then drops the knight as a bunch of them just yell from the back, "How dare you take the princess hostage and then kill one of her own? Get him!" The knights would then run on Naofumi, who would stare at them, and all of a sudden, all the knights would just start to stab each other, telling each other to die. They would then start to kill each other, with Melty falling to the ground in shock. And the horror of this is just making her just so unstable, and soon all the knights are dead. She would then look back up at Naofumi, saying, "What is this? What is going on?" Naofumi would then give her a hand, asking her, You really don't know anything that's happening? Seems like you're being used." This would shock Melty as she would then realize that she was just a pawn, but for who? Her father or her sister? Asuka would then hug Melty, who can't really calm down right now, and she says that everything is going to be okay. Naofumi then saw that one of the knights remained on his horse and he actually just left him alive, as he then ran away on his horse in fear. But little did he know, the knight actually had a freaking crystal camera attached to him, and soon Naofumi's party just became fugitives. By manipulating the recorded footage of Naofumi, he was made out to be a simple murderer and someone who captured the princess. So soon Naofumi and his party actually found out about this scandal, and they went all over and saw all the trouble that they were in now. Everyone was against them. Naofumi would send out clones to go to Malcormark and see what was going on, and when the clones saw that Naofumi was being made into fugitives, yeah, they were mad because they are Naofumi. Of course, some people didn't really buy into this, Naofumi being like a murderer, just a simple murderer, because he helped some of them. So some people are still believing in him, but the majority of people are not believing in them. The clones would then undo the jutsu, and then we zoom in on Naofumi sitting in the forest cross-legged. All of a sudden, he would then get an influx of information, and he just gets pissed. Ratelli would then ask what was going on, as Naofumi would say that, well, mine set them up. Hearing this, Melty, who was in the tent with Asuka, would then come out. "How do you know this?" asked Melty. "I have information gathering power. I won't really tell you anything more, princess." "Look guys, we're going to Siltvet. What do you plan to do?" asked Naofumi, staring at Melty. Melty would then say that she wants to go to her father and talk about things, but Naofumi says that it is a bad idea as she will be killed on the spot. However, he proposes that she can come with them because the only thing that he can promise her is to keep her safe. He can't really do much else. Asuka then convinces her to come with them, and she agrees as they start traveling to Siltvet. As they go on, Naofumi will be trying to figure out why his shield hasn't come back to normal, but to no avail. He instead just focused more on protecting his party, and they just continued on, but it still does bother him. So One day it was night, and they found a little refuge in a little cave, and they just kept quiet. And Naofumi heard about the queen, and once he learns that the queen is actually higher in the pecking order, he laughs, saying that that is hilarious. However, due to his new skill, he picks up something, and he just tells everyone that they have to leave now. As they exit the cave and take out the light that they set up in there, they see another light coming from far away, and they determine that they're being trailed by a bunch of knights. So as they do their best to avoid the pursuers, they end up getting trapped in a spot, and Naofumi sees the heroes approach his party with a bunch of other people. Give yourself up and release the princess, says Yuzuki, and this won't have to get ugly. I was hoping no one would have to do this, says Naofumi. He would then put his hand out and he would turn on his Bangekyo as everyone gets on guard, because at this point, everyone had heard that bad things happen when his eyes turns red, so you should get on guard. Melty would then stop him, saying that this was just a setup and she was perfectly fine, and Naofumi was actually protecting her. For a moment, the heroes actually believe her, when all of a sudden Naofumi hears a familiar voice. Don't believe her, says Mine. She's been brainwashed. The shield hero has the ability to make people see things, right? The Church of the Three Heroes has also found out that he can brainwash people with those disgusting eyes of his. Who the hell would believe that, yells Raftalia. Moriyasu would then step up, saying, oh, then Raftalia and Asuka are also being brainwashed. Raftalia would then refute this, as the two groups just keep going back and forth, and all while Naofumi is just deep in thought. Oh, so she's been healed. Yeah, when I get the chance, she's dead, thinks Naofumi. As the conversation would keep going, Ren would then yell, hey, did you also make us believe that we failed their quests when we actually didn't? Naofumi would then grit his teeth as the other heroes would keep talking and calling him a bastard and a trickster until he has enough. His shield would then start to shine as he's just enveloped in the green aura once again, and his team will start to levitate until they, as well as Naofumi, are in the head of his fully formed Susanoo. You asked for this, says Naofumi. I've tried to be nice. I've been giving you warnings. I've been cleaning up your messes and trying to stay away, but I think that you just don't care. So I don't have to care anymore either. His Susanoo would then sprout wings as he starts to fly. Melty as well as Asuka and Raftalia are shocked and amazed as Naofumi would then say, destroy them. The Susanoo would then have a drill sword in his hand as he would just pull it back and throw it like a spear. The knights would try to run away and avoid this, but they would all be killed on sight. Naofumi's Susanoo would then land, taking the sword out of the ground as it keeps stepping and killing soldiers as if they were ants. We then see Mine put her hands up as she fires an orb into the sky. This would bring in other soldiers who would set up to shoot Naofumi's Susanoo with bows. But as they shoot arrows out, before they even reach him, they melt, because the Susanoo is made out of pure fire and chakra. This would scare the soldiers as they would try to run away, but then Naofumi runs at super speed, slamming his drill into where they were, and he spins it, killing everyone. Blood would just splatter everywhere as the heroes even try to attack the Susanoo, but it does nothing, as Naofumi then makes his sword disappear. He then stares at them and bends down as he flicks Moriyasu and Itsuki away, but then he spares Ren as he says these words, "You're not as dumb as they are. I know you'll figure things out." We then flash back to Naofumi as he was leaving the king's throne room, and he met a mysterious woman who handed him something that symbolized the cult that is the Church of the Three Heroes. Naofumi then takes this out and drops it as Ren catches it. "What do you mean?" asks Ren. As he asks this, Naofumi would then squat down and fly into the sky, not answering him, and using his wings he glides into the sky, disappearing. "Wow, Master, we're flying." "Yep. Now do you see why you can't go back?" says Naofumi. Melty would then frown as she understood. She tried to reason with them, but Mine just tricked them all into believing her lies. The only person who can protect her now is Naofumi. What will happen in the next part? What is the church planning? I guess you have to find out in the next part, because this is where I'm leaving it off. Welcome to the end of the video. This was What If Naofumi was an Uchiha. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you like the new thumbnail, because I'll be using it for the rest of the parts, which honestly shouldn't take that long to end, and then I will go on to finish other parts, and after that I will finally be straight and be okay, and I'll start only 2 series after that. That way I'll just keep going back and forth between them, not making myself overwork. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with anybody else who might like What Ifs, and I will be coming back with probably What If Naruto was a hybrid again. So because I did that a long time ago, then I just stopped all of a sudden. People thought I was gonna stop making the series, and I just want to get the next part out. And if not, I can just work on something else. But I am working on it. Like, I'm at like 10 pages in the script, so it should be long enough to reach like 30 minutes soon. So yeah. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe. And yeah, see you later.